Hello, hello. How are we doing, folks? Okay, we have lots of people on the line. Welcome all, welcome. Okay, so I've got the lines muted at the moment. We're going to get going in about 30 seconds. Lines are muted simply to try and cut out the noise, and so that, you know, hummings in the background don't disturb everyone else. But I'd like to keep this really interactive, if I may. So we've got a chat function. I think Sophie's already found it. She says, yay, running to get the kettle. Andrea's found it. She says, good evening. Yeah, Sophie again. Super. Hi, guys. So if you'd like to just let me know that you've found the chat function and just kind of type something into the box. So, you know, say, I'm a money genius, or good evening, or something equally random. That would be perfect, because it'd be really good if we can interact on this call, even though we can't even though we can't kind of open the lines. And I will open the lines if we've got specific questions that people want to ask. Okay, so Robin's found it. Woohoo, happy to be here. Hey Robin, lovely to see you. Catherine's found it. Hello. Who's a money magnet? That's Kamal. Hi. Sandy's here. Good evening. Hi, Sandy. Super. Okay. Hello. We've got Kamal. Oh, Becky's got it. Brilliant. Supporter extraordinaire. Someone's been keeping an eye on Facebook this evening. Super. And Mindy's here. Hi, Mindy. Great, and you're welcome. She says thanks for putting it on. Great. Okay, so folks, it looks like you've found the chat function. If you haven't, then perhaps wave your hand, and we'll see if we can guide you in the right direction. There is a hand waving function that should be fairly straightforward to find. Okay, great. So it's time. It's 7:01. So let's get rocking on this and see where we get to. So we're going to be talking about how to remove your money blocks, and this has come about for a number of reasons. One reason was I've had a lot of questions about the emotional releasing technique that I use, and people are genuinely interested in really rooting out the money blocks and not, you know, trying to gloss over them anymore. The other thing is that I think generally people are ready to explore a more in-depth solution to the problems, and I think with the advent of, you know, The Secret and the law of attraction and everything, we're starting to recognize generally, you know, as a society, that our inner world plays a huge part on our outer world, and if we keep getting the same pattern, whether it's in a relationship or whether it's in a relationship with our bank account or with specific patterns that show up in our lives, when that keeps happening, it's normally for a reason, and it's because of the inner patterns that we're running that we recreate that on the outside world. Now that's all well and good, but what happens when you decide that actually enough is enough and I want to change this? And one of the things that I noticed in coaching people in money and in business is that until the inner world changes, just changing the outer strategy has very little effect. And you might have heard me tell the story before of when I used to train people on the stock market, you know, the traders on the trading floor, and some would make money hand over fist whilst others would really struggle. And the difference seemed to be that the only thing that they all had the same recipe and they all had the same strategy, but some were wise to be able to make money and others were wired not to. And then the question comes into play, well, if I can't make money, does that mean that I'm destined to never make money in my life? Which, you know, is a bit of a depressing thought. Or is there something that I can do about that? And of course, this is what we're talking about here, and we're talking about letting go of the money blocks. So hopefully we're all in the right place, and we're all expecting a talk on that. Shall I get cracking? Is this what you guys were expecting? Talk to me. Paul says yay. Awesome. Hey Paul. Paul sent me an email today. Yes. Rosie says yes. Paul says hola. Kamal says yes, please get it cracking. Go for it. Absolutely. Tell me more. Okay, super. I think we've got consensus there. All right, so folks, this is the agenda for today, and I'm going to squeeze it into an hour, and then I'm going to hang around for another 10 minutes afterwards to answer any questions. After that, you are always free to email me. I'm at the end of an email or a Facebook message. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to release the money blocks, what to do when the blocks are hidden. This is something that I'm always getting asked. What if we're not aware of these money blocks? How do we deal with them? And why there is no such thing as a subconscious. A lot of stuff in kind of conventional wisdom, I think it comes out of like the Jungian era, where, you know, he advocated, look, we've got this model of the conscious and the subconscious, and, you know, we're kind of at the mercy of our subconscious. I'm going to present something to you later on in a couple of slides' time, which shows you that actually the subconscious isn't this kind of mysterious, hidden entity, part of ourselves that we have no control over. We can actually take control of our subconscious without using hypnosis and without using hope and luck, and actually deal with the programs that are at the moment hidden there, but we can bring those to the surface and change them. And then we're also going to talk about how to get ongoing support in this profoundly powerful work. So those of you who have come to this from an email will have, someone says, is that Paul G? I don't know, Andrea, sorry. When we initially started this conversation that led to this webinar, we were talking about, okay, how can we help as many people as possible at a cost that's effective and that, you know, people can afford, and that, you know, if you've got money worries, then how can you start doing this kind of work when you're already strapped for cash? So what we're going to talk about towards the end is how you can get in on this ongoing support, and basically it's like an ongoing mentoring group that I'm advocating that we start up, so we can do this collectively for as long as you need it. Okay, so hopefully that all sounds cool. Right, so this is the current reality. Now, sometimes I get a few sniggers when I show this picture. When you think of money, is this the kind of, you know, head on the desk feeling that you get? Does anyone identify with this? Anyone at all? Sandra says, yes, me. Robin says, yes. Catherine says, yes. Okay. And Sophie's like, not as much now. Sophie's done a lot of releasing though, so we're going to get onto that. Brilliant. Yeah, so everyone's saying yes and that they agree. Brilliant. Thanks for participating, guys. Okay, what about this? Does anyone have this kind of scenario to deal with? Where it's like, yeah, it's a bit of a pain, and, you know, you've got all these bills and demands for money, and Sandy's going, ah. Okay. I've got a few oh my gods, and someone's automated it. That's great. Mindy's saying, oh God, yes. Okay. And what about being strapped for cash? You know, feeling like your hands are tied and that you've got all this you've got a little tiny bit of money, but all these bills to pay, and there's really not any freedom at all or wiggle room in month to month. Yeah. And what about this? Who's you know, working really hard and, you know, maybe burning out on caffeine and spending too many hours in front of the computer and, you know, staying up all hours into the morning, and, you know, doing anything just to keep going, and, you know, you see you've got pills on the side there, and, you know, your health is suffering and you're wearing yourself into the ground, and Sandra's saying no wiggle moves, sorry. So, you know, you're really kind of feeling that stressed out, kind of constant ongoing feeling, especially when it comes to money and not having enough. And I know that, I mean, a lot of people on this call are working incredibly hard, and they're really plugged into what they do, and a lot of you guys are really good at what you do, and yet, you know, the money thing is still an issue. So we are going to fix this, but, you know, there is a lot of despair there. And, you know, I look at this picture here of this poor old chap at his desk, and, you know, piles of paperwork, and, you know, obviously overworked. And I just think of my poor old dad who was always, you know, stressed out and burnt out and doing everything that he could, and still, you know, trying to pay bills from one month to the next was always a worry for him. And you know, I think this is a reality for a lot of people in this day and age. So you know, this sounds like, from what you guys are saying, Andrew says he needs a VA. No prizes for guessing what Andrew does for a living. Okay, so I think we're all on the same page when we understand that this is the current reality that we're facing. And I think the message that I'd really love you to take away from this webinar, if you take nothing else, is that you are not alone and that there is hope. And okay, it's going to take a little bit of digging. We have to go to these places which are a little bit uncomfortable for us. But you know what they say, no pain, no gain. So is everyone on the line here ready to go where those kind of money issues are rooted, and go to that painful place in order to deal with it and root it all out so that you can live without these constraints when it comes to money? I'm getting a lot of yes, yeehaws, and for sure, let's go. Brilliant. Okay, guys, it's lovely to see that you're with me. Brilliant, well done. Okay, so let's talk about what is possible. All right, so these are folks, and we have a couple of them on the line I've seen. These folks have all done amazing things using this technique. And I'm not going to go into like individual stories because you can read about them on the website. But, you know, we've had people who, two of these guys, like Clyde and Kim, have got directorships in their companies as a, sorry, I'm reading your messages as they're coming through. It's rather distracting. Okay. Have got directorships in their companies, their respective companies, as a result of doing the emotional releasing and really letting go. Marcel, who will be listening to this recording later, over in Brazil, is doing amazing things with his music since he's learned how to release, and he's also got more income coming in because he's teaching and he's attracting the right students. You know, Guy turned his company around, and you know, last I heard it was several million kind of turnover, and he's talking about deals of several million that are possible for him now. George is obviously this six-figure revenue master, and yet he still had, you know, emotional stuff to do with money. And when he plugged into the Wire Yourself for Wealth material, he found immense gains from doing this kind of work. So I mean, basically what I'm trying to illustrate to you is that, look, this stuff works, and it's worked for normal people, and it can work for you as well. Okay. Right, so inner world dictates outer world. We're all on the same page with that, aren't we, folks? We all believe that the stuff that's inside of our heads is what's quietly dictating what happens in our lives. We've got a few defos here. Yes, brilliant. Okay. Has anyone heard the philosophy of think positive and everything will be okay? Becky says, nice picture. I don't know whether she's referring to the picture of herself or the one that I've got on the slide now. Okay, so yes, we have heard of this, think positive and it's going to be all right. But is that true? Have we heard that, you know, maybe if we think positive, everything's going to come out the way that we plan? And we've got a no's, lots of no's on the answer, on the thing. I'm saying it doesn't work. And Robin's saying no, not at all. Okay, so let's talk about why it doesn't work. Okay, and the point is that if we think positive on the surface, and yet our inner world is actually full of a load of rubbish and limiting beliefs and, you know, deep-rooted decisions that we're going to have these money blocks, no matter what we do on the surface, you know, in terms of, yeah, let's put a spring in our step and a smile on our face and it's all going to be okay. It's almost like glossing over the surface and leaving all the rubbish trapped underneath. And an example would be like putting varnish over a dirty floor. So what I'm advocating with the technique that we're going to talk about tonight is that we sweep the floor first, yeah? We clean the floor up first and then we put the varnish on it, yeah? Okay. So what is emotional baggage? Okay, and it's the emotional baggage that we have to get rid of, that's, you know, kind of the dirt on the dirty floor, right? So has anyone got a definition of emotional baggage? I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to I was going to say tweet then, but to type into the chat function what you think emotional baggage is. Because there are lots of definitions. Relationships breaking up. Loads of different ones. Yeah, that's right, Sandy. Heavy head stuff, absolutely. I've got Sophie's answer here. The poop that you stuff into your system for some reason. And we've got Catherine saying childhood experiences. Absolutely, yep. The stuff that loads us down and keeps us from moving forward. Yeah, absolutely. So all those definitions are correct. And it's all this, you know, the childhood experiences, but more importantly, the decisions that we make that are related to those childhood experiences. You know, so if you're going along and you're happy, and then all of a sudden someone slaps you down and says, you've got to be quiet, you're making too much noise, of course you're going to make the decision that I'm not going to be so happy ever again, because if I'm happy, I'm going to get slapped down. Does anyone recognize that program? Yeah, we've got lots of yeses. Okay. Yeah, and we've got hi Stuart. Stuart's just joined us on the line. He says that issues from the past that may still play in your minds many years later. That's absolutely true. Yeah, so a lot of people are resonating with that example of the childhood experience. That's brilliant. Okay. And then what happens is that we have thoughts about things that happen later on, and because we've got these kind of deep-rooted childhood experiences and decisions that we've made, it's almost like we go filtering the world and the things that happen around us, and those thoughts, we filter for the thoughts that substantiate the decisions that we've already made. So basically, if you remember the rule that the ego doesn't like to be proved wrong, and that we'll go filtering for everything possible to make ourselves right, then that's exactly what's going to happen. And it's very much like a table leg. So if you can imagine the table as being the beliefs, and then the legs are thoughts, the more thoughts that you can find that support that belief, the more solid that table is. Yeah. Okay. So what we want to do is take apart these beliefs that aren't serving us and the ones that are keeping us in money troubles, and reconstruct new tables that are going to support, you know, whatever it is that we want to do with our lives, but also to make sure that we can pay our bills and feed ourselves, and basically live the life that we deserve to live. Yeah. Is everyone following so far? Okay, no one's answering. Yeah, we've got some yeses, lovely smiley faces. Perfect. Thanks, guys. That's really great that you're interacting. Thank you. Okay, so now I think was it Stuart, or was it Stuart who said about the emotional baggage from relationships? Well, of course, that's what's going to happen when we have tables that are a little bit wonky, or that they're beliefs that say that actually people aren't nice and people are going to hurt us. So we do crazy things to protect ourselves, and that includes, you know, pushing people away, and being on our guard, and waiting for people to kind of mess up, because, you know, you can't trust people. That's an old childhood belief that a lot of us have. And so what actually happens is that we attract exactly those instances, because, again, we're going out into the world and we're filtering for it. Yeah. And what happens is that after years and years and years, we end up with this tangle. You see this tangle of wires here? This is like a tangle of thoughts and beliefs and ideas about the world that we have, and that we try and keep all those in play in our minds, when actually what we want to do is just take them all out and allow ourselves to relax, and just allow things to be as they are, and for us to see more clearly. Okay? So what happens when we get to bypass all this clutter? Instead of juggling all these limiting beliefs and these emotions that are designed to keep us safe but actually just keep us trapped, is that when we let go of those, we become more of who we actually are. And, you know, one of the common reports that I hear from these guys that are doing it, and, you know, making gains with this material, is that they are really finding their passion. They're really finding what they want to do. They're really tuning into, you know, that inner voice, and, you know, they're trusting their intuition. They're dodging bullets, and they're making the kind of money that they want to make. And it happens because they're dropping all this clutter and all these filters that are pulling in the stuff that they're trying to protect themselves from. Yeah. If you don't have to protect yourself from anything, then oh sorry, if you don't feel like you need to put up shields against things, then it means that you end up not having to protect yourself from anything at all, because ultimately you are already safe, right? Okay, so how do we go about unraveling these tangles? Well, a little bit more theory. And by the way, is everyone kind of keeping up on this? Because I've been kind of prattling away as I do and getting all excited. Are we still on board with the thoughts and feelings and whatnot? Yep, 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 lovely. Okay, thanks folks. All's well, thanks Paul. Okay, oh, Elizabeth's there. I haven't seen Elizabeth before, brilliant. And Robin's perfect, awesome. Okay, Sandra's saying prattle on. Thanks, Sandy. Okay, so the next bit is maybe we've seen this model of thoughts and feelings. Has anyone seen this before? I think if you've been doing emotional work, or maybe in NLP you might have seen this, where thoughts create feelings, and then your feelings create behaviors, and then your behaviors create your results. Is anyone familiar with that? Yeah, Mindy's saying yes, she's familiar with that. Okay. Yes, cognitive behavioural therapy as well. Yeah, that's right, Sandy. Brilliant. Okay, so we've got a few of our ladies who are well familiar with this. Now, I've got a little amendment to make, just in you know, true unconventional style, as I do. And what I'd like to do is plug these two thoughts and feelings together, and let's talk about sensations instead of thoughts and feelings, because this is actually the gateway to releasing the tangles. And you know, if you go into advanced meditation techniques where people start to really make emotional gains and you know, have power in the material world and create the kind of awareness that we're all hoping to create, they actually focus not on the thoughts are transient and they allow those to leave. The feelings are also transient and they don't attach to them. And what they pay attention to are the sensations, because the sensations we can release and we can let go of, yeah? And so that's where our kind of gateway lies, in the sensation. So if you think of an emotion, yeah, so maybe think about anger or frustration or something like that. That's normally an easy one for people to get a hold on, yeah? So you feel that sensation, that feeling of being angry or frustrated, yeah? And can you notice in your body the sensation that it pulls up? Yeah, it might be like a fire somewhere in your chest or in your belly, or it might be, you know, a pressure on your head, yeah? So you notice that every feeling, every emotion has a sensation attached to it. And actually, if you look really carefully, it's a little bit more tricky with thoughts, but if you look carefully, when you have thoughts, you also have sensations associated with those thoughts, yeah? Has anyone just noticed that now as I've been talking? Yes, Anne says yes, Robin said yes. Yeah, okay, cool. Right, so, and Kamal says yes, perfect. All right, guys, so if we can let go of the sensation, then that's going to automatically affect our behaviours, and it's going to affect our results, which in turn affects our thoughts and feelings and other sensations, right? So that's one quick way into changing that cycle. But more than that, and this is something that I'm sure you are aware of, because you'll have all had, you know, freaky experiences where synchronicities have happened and, you know, you've been tuned in and you've just known stuff, right? You also have these sensations that you have in your body that affect the outer world, yeah? And this is where the kind of law of attraction comes in, and action at a distance, and all this kind of stuff which is kind of inexplicable in traditional kind of Newtonian physics, but actually there's a lot of science that's showing that, you know, the vibes that we put out have a direct effect on the world around us. Okay, so has anyone ever had an experience like that, where they've had a sensation like they could do something, and without changing anything specific in like their strategy, they just started having things show up in their lives? And it might have been that, you know, opportunities just crop up and they meet the right person, and, you know, bizarre coincidences happen. Yes, okay, so Sophie says yes, Elizabeth says yes, Rosie says yes. Sophie saying yes, Sandy. Oh yes, she believes in angels. Yeah, okay, sorry guys, you're moving too quickly for me to read them. Okay, so everyone's haven't had this experience. And for a year, Andrea says she's had it all the time. So that's super. Okay. Robin says, yes, she met her fiance. Brilliant. Okay, so all this is kind of fitting into the world that you kind of intuitively know, but perhaps haven't got the science to back it up. But now what you have is a technique where you can directly affect that world, and it all ties into digging out the baggage so that your inner world is congruent with what you want on the outer world, right? Okay, so our goal as releasers is to then dig out all the emotions and all the what I call mind cabbage associated with the money blocks, yeah? And what we do is we identify it and let it go, yeah? And actually, I think now's probably a really good time to do a quick demo. So does anyone want to kind of volunteer themselves? And I'll open up the lines and we'll do a quick demonstration of how this this technique works. Anyone at all? Don't all jump at once. Okay, Sophie, well done. Okay, Sophie says I will. Right, I'm just unmuting you. Hey, Sophie.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can indeed. You're a little bit loud. Does anyone else feel like Sophie's a bit loud at the moment, or is it okay? Yes, it's loud. Stuart says it's okay. Okay.
Okay, I've put my headphones
Right.
in. You were on the speaker, but I think that may help.
Oh, that's better. That's much better. Thanks, Soph. Right. Okay. So are you ready to do a little bit of releasing?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. So let's have a think about something to do with money. Now, you don't have to tell us what it is, because I realise that you're in a public forum, so it's a little bit, you know, a bit. You might feel a little bit vulnerable about this. So you don't have to tell us anything about the situation that you're thinking about. But what we're going to talk about is this sensation that's associated with it. Yeah. So maybe think about something to do with money where you feel like you've got a money block. Okay.
Right, I think my money blocks are like really tiny now.
Are they?
There's a couple kicking around, like there's a few in the bottom of the bag type of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to pick one and just hold that in mind, and then tell us the feeling that you get when you think of that money block?
It feels like you know when you're naturally breathing and you can naturally feel energy moving around your body.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like that energy suddenly stops, and it does feel like an actual blockage, and it's no longer flowing as it should be.
Uh-huh. Okay, great. So tuning into that, yeah, now you've done this with me before. So can you just see that as either wanting approval, wanting control, or wanting to be safe?
I think it's a bit of a medley of all of them.
Okay, so let's start with wanting control, yeah? So just put on your filter and just see it as wanting control, yeah?
Okay.
All right. And on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the biggest and 1 being not very much at all, whereabouts on the scale is that wanting control?
I think it's about a 4 to a 5.
4 to a 5. Okay. So let's see it as a 5. Okay.
Yes.
And could you let go of resisting it and just allow it to be there
Yes.
for a moment? And could you let go of resisting it a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay. And a little bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, super. Now Shirley's just asked, what did I mean by put on your filter? So basically we're just seeing it in terms of one of the 3 wants, and we'll talk about the basic wants in a moment. But what's happening now is that Sophie can see this as wanting control. And it's a desire to have control. And what happens is when we want control, we can't have it. So what Sophie's now going to do is she's going to allow it to leave. And we're going to use 3 questions to allow Sophie to do this. Okay, so you ready for the 3 questions, Sophie?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So is there the possibility that you could allow that sensation to leave?
Yes.
Okay, if you could, would you?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, and when's a good time?
Right now.
Lovely.
Mm.
Okay, And what number is it on now?
That was 2.
2, perfect. Okay, so seeing that 2, and anyone else can listen and follow along with this and notice the sensations in your own body, yeah? So seeing that 2, Sophie, as wanting control, is there the possibility that you could allow that 2 to leave?
Yes.
And if you could, would you?
I would, yes.
And when's a good time?
Now.
Okay, and now what number are you on?
Probably half a 1.
Half a 1. Okay, so decision time, my dear. Do you want to hold on to that half, or do you want to let it go?
I would like to let it go.
Okay, and if you could, would you?
I would. Yes.
And when's a good time?
Right now.
Okay. Is it gone?
Yep.
Super. Okay, now how are you feeling right now, Sophie?
I'm feeling slightly high and really happy.
That's super. Okay, now does anyone else notice that they feel lighter when they let go? Does anyone else notice a difference in their feeling and their sensations as they let go? Sandy's saying yes, it works. Andrew says yes. Robin's absolutely. Catherine, yeah, I did. Brilliant. Look, Sophie, thank you so much for doing that demonstration with us. I'm going to mute you out again so that we can carry on with the rest of the material, but you did a great job there. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Laura. Thank you.
No worries. And don't you just love Sophie's accent? Isn't it lovely? Okay, brilliant. Okay, so Bex is saying that she feels lighter. Stuart says, yes, it works for me too. Brilliant. Okay. And Paul's saying, we hate the Geordies. She's from, Sandy's saying, where's Sophie from? So Sophie's up in Newcastle, and an absolute superstar there. Brilliant. Okay, folks. So that's the technique, and the 3 questions, if you want to write them down, are: is there a possibility that you could let it go? If you could, would you? And then the last one is, when's a good time? Okay, and now that's kind of just the entry to the whole technique. There's lots of work to do in digging out stuff, and you kind of need to build up a momentum and to make it part of your daily routine or your daily practice that you do, in order to keep clearing and to stay clear, and to keep expanding that awareness that you'll develop. But what you'll notice is that not only do you see things more clearly, but your energy will increase in a really bizarre way. And I use the analogy of a hot air balloon, and you may have noticed, that you have different types of energy when you have different emotions. So you might notice that anger and sadness are really heavy energies, whereas acceptance and peace and feeling courageous are really uplifting energies. Yeah. So there's actually a continuum, and it was based on the work of Professor David Hawkins, and he managed to map this kind of calibration scale where he mapped all the different emotions, and he was able to calibrate them on an energetic scale. And what you notice with this work is that as the more and more you do it, the more you elevate yourself up this scale of emotions, so that you end up not being weighed down by feeling depressed or fed up or angry or sad or apathetic about things. Instead, you end up feeling a lot more positive and courageous, and it's true positivity. It's not like, oh, I've got to haul myself out of bed and really put on a brave face and be positive for the world to see. It's an inner positiveness that's natural and that comes from within. Yeah. So it's almost like we have all this emotional baggage that we've been talking about, that we've accumulated over the years and maybe over lifetimes as well. And we have that in the basket with us in the hot air balloon. And what we're aiming to do is to dig out this baggage and turf it over the sides of the basket. And what happens then is that firstly, you're rid of the baggage forever, as if it never even existed, so it's not even an issue. So once you let go of an issue, so for instance, once you've let go of a money issue, that's it, it's gone, and it's never going to plague you again. Yeah, you've let go of that pattern for good, and you don't go backwards. Yeah, it's not like you've been cured of, I don't know, smoking or something else, and you relapse. Yeah, this program is actually gone forever, and there's no bringing it back. Yeah. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is that when you let go of sandbags, what happens to the hot air balloon that you're standing in? Has anyone had this experience? Has everyone gone to sleep? You're all so busy typing, that's what's going on, isn't it? What happens when you let go of the sandbags out of a hot air balloon? And Paul says, yeah, it gets higher. Catherine says, I don't like heights. Okay, a lot of people saying it goes up, you rise up, it floats higher, absolutely. It lifts, we rise higher, it whooshes off, absolutely. That's exactly what happens, folks. Your energy and everything about you goes up this energetic scale, and as Becky's just pointed out, things get a lot easier. So, you know, if you're struggling to attract money at the moment, then, you know, you let go of all the baggage around it, and all of a sudden money comes flowing to you. And it could show up in the most bizarre of ways, you know, like you could end up, you know, getting a tax rebate, or, you know, someone who would owes you money, all of a sudden you get a check through the post, or whatever. You know, I've had instances where I've done some releasing around money issues over a weekend, and then the Monday morning I ended up with 2 checks in the post amounting to £3 grand. Becky's friend actually did some work around deserving a designer jacket, and I don't know whether Becky remembers this, and she ended up getting the exact money that it cost to buy that designer jacket, which is just kind of incredible. And, you know, I wow every time I hear things like this. But, you know, this is the reality when you plug in and you do this kind of work, is that Becky's just remembered, yes, yes. You know, strange things happen. I mean, Marcel emailed me only yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before, and he said that all of a sudden he started to get more money coming in from students, and he's teaching them the music. You know, it's just amazing what you can do, and you have this ability within you. It's already innate within, you know, your wiring as a human being. It's just that it gets kind of covered up by all these traumatic experiences and these decisions that we make in moments when we're feeling a little bit below par, and it mounts up and it creates these tangles that just get in the way. As soon as you get rid of the tangles, everything starts to fall into place. Okay. Right, so now I talked about there's no such thing as the unconscious, and this is how, now that you know about the releasing technique, this is how we can talk about it. Okay, sorry, I'm just rearranging your questions so I can see you and the diagram. There we go. Okay, so the normal way of thinking about the conscious and the subconscious is that we have this iceberg, and underneath we've got all this ice that that is kind of submerged in the water and we can't get to, yeah, and we call this subconscious, and then the little tip at the top is the conscious. So this is the bit that we're aware of, you know, the stuff that we can control, you know. So this is where we have a diet and we can resist having that last piece of chocolate cake, or, you know, we can resist having that cigarette or whatever it is. But that's hard work, especially when the subconscious is working against you. But rather than trying to control the subconscious, yeah. Oh, someone's having sound issues. Yeah, Gail, I'm recording it on 2 different players, so hopefully one of those recordings will come out, yeah? Okay. So what happens is that instead of trying to battle against this subconscious, you know, and we have all kinds of programming techniques to try and deal with this. You know, I'm a fan of them. I've used them. I've created several of these audio programs to help people to manifest the things that they want and to change behavioral patterns. The thing is that it's just it's a hard work and it's a long time for it to create that change, and it's trying to get it to be permanent is tricky, because what you're effectively doing is putting that varnish over the dirty floor, yeah? So instead what we're going to do is sweep out the dirty floor and make it clean, yeah? And the way that we do that is by dropping the emotional baggage that we've been talking about. Now, as we let go of stuff at the surface, you see this around the peak, as we let go of the programs around the peak, what happens is that this line of consciousness drops down, yeah? So can you imagine it just dropping down to the second line? So all of a sudden, all that stuff, all those programs and patterns and things that were hidden from us that used to be the subconscious are all of a sudden conscious, and our awareness expands dramatically. Yeah. So whereas before all we saw were people getting at us, we would drop this line, and all of a sudden we're aware that actually we were creating these situations, and that actually it was just, you know, that they were playing off our own insecurities, and actually that, you know, we can take full responsibility for it. And it happens at such a deep level that the whole world starts to look different. And, you know, you get to see stuff within other people, and you see people for who they truly are and not for the baggage that they're carrying around them, you know. And it's tricky to kind of explain when, you know, you try, like as a compassionate human being, you try to see people, see the good in people, but until you've dropped your own filters and you can really you're not being triggered by other people's stuff, you can't really appreciate, you know, what lies underneath. And there's this whole world that's kind of waiting for us to discover if and when we decide that we want to drop this line of awareness and start hauling out the what was previously subconscious. Okay. And what that happens is that this takes us to a new awareness. Okay. So this is pretty deep and in depth. Does anyone have any questions on this? Oh, Becky's super. Becky's just said, okay. Sandy says controversial. Hang on. Becky says, yes, I have stopped blaming others for how I do or don't feel. And that's brilliant, because ultimately everything is, you know, our responsibility. Sandy says controversial. How do you do this practically? Okay, so Sandy, it's just that technique that I was talking about, that we did the demonstration with Sophie. And it takes more than just, you know, kind of a 30-minute stint, sorry, a 30-second stint to do it. Yeah, the letting go, exactly that. Mindy, give me a clear example of how this showed up for somebody not quite grasping things. Okay, I'll come back to that, Mindy. So Sophie's saying, I have came to the knowing recently that everything I experience is my out picture of my consciousness. Super. Well done, Sophie. Okay, Mindy, let's think of an example. Okay, so let me use Becky's example. Okay, Sandy's not grasping either. Great. Okay, this is great that you're talking to me, guys. Okay, so let's just use Becky's example of how, okay, previously she... Actually, can I open the line? Becky, do you want to share with us? Because that would be really helpful. Are you up for that? Catherine asks, is it just the way you go, changing the way you think about things? No, Catherine, it's deeper than that, because remember we talked about the thoughts and the emotions, and yes, on one level we're pulling out the thoughts, but it's not about managing the way that we think about things. It's about changing things on a more profound level, and it starts with doing this deep emotional work. So let me just get Becky to give you an example, hang on, I'll just unmute her. Where are you? Oh, you signed in as Rebecca. Hang on. There she is. There you go, Becky. You're live.
Hello.
Hello. How
Hi.
are you doing?
All right, thanks. Yeah.
Okay.
Can I give an example from a relationship point of view? Because I think that has been a really poignant thing that people might identify with as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it. Please do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess the biggest thing that I've noticed is a change in relationships, which has affected money, I guess. And I did a lot of releasing around relying on other people for approval. So in relationships, relying on other people to make me feel good. So as soon as I let go of that, it's almost like it doesn't matter so much anymore, and great things are coming in because I'm not putting such emphasis on other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Does anyone have any questions for Becky whilst we've got her on the line? Sandy, is this making more sense now? She's saying, Becky, do you want to give us another example? Because I think you talking about it from your perspective is really useful. So go on, give us another
Okay, I'll
example.
give you a direct example as a result that I had then as a change in my income.
Uh-huh.
I did a lot of releasing around being worth, being worthy of having more money.
Mm-hmm.
And my belief might have been I need to work hard for money.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't have enough time because I work very hard. I don't have any more time to do any more things.
Mm-hmm.
So once I let go of that belief, I actually increased my income by 40% because I changed my beliefs, or I let go of some old thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd have done that without having released on all of the stuff around, not deserving stuff, not feeling like I was good enough to have more money. That makes sense?
Yeah, perfect sense. And actually we've got Sandy's asked again, how did Becky do the releasing? And I think she meant the letting go technique, she says later.
Yeah, well, I've been working with Laura for one-to-one for the last year, and I write this down. I write this stuff down, and I just go right into the subject on my own because I haven't got you to there asking me questions. So I just really go into depth in my own head as to all the things that I might believe around a certain topic. And then I think you've taught me to look at the advantages and disadvantages of doing that as well, because sometimes you end up believing things obviously because they keep you safe. So once you realise that you're safe anyway, and you can let go of that as well.
And
so it's more than just the beliefs themselves. It's the reasons why, the advantages of having that belief and the disadvantages of having that belief.
Absolutely, that's really useful that you share that actually, Becky, because actually I think what people are asking here is that Kemal's just said, did she use the 3 questions? And yes, she does. That's part of the technique. And Elizabeth is saying, okay, what's the best way to do it on yourself? And I think the point is that you need a certain amount of guidance to get into being able to do it on your own and to stay on track, which is why we worked together for so long, I think. And there are kind of tables and charts that we use, aren't there, that make you look at the advantages and disadvantages, and then ways of kind of completely releasing on that specific issue, which it may be a little bit complicated to start drawing up tables right now, but in essence the technique is exactly the same, and you just sit down with pen and paper and do exactly what we've been talking about on the call.
Can I just say, having the three things to release on: the security, security, approval, and being safe, being able to identify every thought that you have, kind of associating it with those 3 things, makes you enables you to let go of things more easily.
Yeah, because I guess we're taking it back to those building blocks, which make it less personal, I suppose. It's like, well, I'm not letting go of, whatever the issue is. I'm actually just letting go of one little block of it, and it's that illusion that I might not be safe. And can I let that go? And actually, yeah, I could. I'm not having to deal with the whole chunk of the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel it's even difficult now. This is the first time I've ever talked about this actually on air. Quite a big thing. Even telling people, they might think I'm stupid for having all this emotional stuff in my head that I need to let go of. anyway.
That's brilliant. No, that's been really helpful, Becky. Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to share? And Elizabeth is saying...
Really? Sorry, go on.
No, it's just that Elizabeth has said on the chat function, you said, I feel really stupid for having all this stuff in my head, and she says not at all. So, you know, you've got 100% you know, support here on the line, and it's a safe place.
Excellent.
So,
Thank you.
Sorry, you were saying.
I just wanted to add how much I've gained by doing this work, and how much I have been inspired to do more. I'm like, wow, this is so powerful.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Becky, and thanks so much for sharing. I mean, I wasn't expecting you to be on the line, but bless you for showing up and getting involved. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Nice.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to mute you out again, and everyone, that was Becky. She's an absolute superstar, and Sandy's just said you're great, Becky. So Sandy was also asking, please go over the 3 things again. It's wanting approval, wanting control, and wanting to be safe. Okay, so those are the basic things. Becky's saying thank you, Sandy. Okay, super. Right, let's press on. But you know, as ever, if there are any questions, I'll field them as we go. Okay, so we're all on this webinar because what we want to really have is a money turnaround. Is that fair to say? Yes, everyone's saying yes. Brilliant. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what we want to do really is to kind of clear out all the stuff and all that murkiness and the cloudiness, and go from, you know, that not having any clarity and kind of knowing where we want to end up but not having a clue of how to get there, to having this kind of crystal clear picture of, actually I can just put one step in front of the other, and I can have whatever it is I choose to have. Yeah. So if you were to choose between these 2 pictures, apart from, this is the thing that I set up in Nottingham, and then Andrea said, actually I think the picture on the left is more beautiful. Apart from the pictures being beautiful or not, is she saying, did I? Yeah, I remember it. Apart from what the pictures look like, which would you have as your reality? Is it that, you know, you kind of just bumble along in fear and uncertainty and not knowing how to deal with this inner world kind of stuff and the money blocks? Or is it that you would have this crystal clarity and you can choose exactly how you want stuff to be, and then you've got the tools to deal with the emotions and the feelings and the thoughts and all the stuff that goes along with it, so that you have the confidence to have whatever it is that you've chosen. Sandy's saying yes, please. Okay, and Robin's saying, I would love to know the certainty of putting one foot in front of the other with the tools to deal with it and the confidence. Absolutely brilliant. Okay, so Catherine's saying, I relate to the left picture currently, but I would like the right. And Sophie's saying, yeah, the right sounds great. Okay, brilliant. So we're all after this picture on the right and having that kind of clarity. And that's exactly what these guys have done. You know, they've used this technique and they're getting it sorted, and they've created massive shifts in their lives. And, you know, I'm so proud of each and every one of them. And, you know, Becky just sharing theirs, she's just a superstar. And you know, I'm just so proud of her. Okay, and maybe it's not my position to be proud, but you know, I think she's done amazing things. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Are you guys ready to plug in and do this kind of work? Is the real question. Yeah, because we said at the beginning that, you know, it's not all rosy, it's not all easy. It means confronting some of this deep stuff that's a little bit painful or uncomfortable. And oh, Becky says she appreciates that. That's all right. And cool. And you know, it takes focus as well, you know. Kamal's saying he's already started, and Mindy's saying, that's why I'm here, lady, let's go. Okay, and everyone else is saying yes with various smiley faces. Okay, if you guys are in, this is what I figure we should do. Okay. Mentoring group. We're going to do a mentoring group, and it's going to designed specifically to help you guys do this releasing, because I know you've got questions and, you know, you're thinking, oh, surely it can't be that simple. And yes, there is more to it, like Becky was talking about. It's about we need to kind of I need to give you workbooks and worksheets so you can work through them on your own, but we also need to do the ongoing kind of one-to-one stuff in a kind of group environment as well. So I can say, okay, no, feel that sensation, and have you thought about this, and so on. So it's going to take a combination of hard work on both our parts. So what I'm suggesting is we do 2 webinars per month, and I want to get into a situation where we can open up the lines and we can really do the work like we did with Sophie earlier and dig deep, and then send you away with homework and worksheets and stuff to focus on. And if there's enough people who are willing to do this, then we can devise some way of making sure that you all get to work on the stuff that's really pertinent to you. Okay, so we'd record these webinars, and then I'd put them together in the membership area. We'd have a Facebook group for support. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm all over Facebook. Like, I wake up in the morning and it's the first thing that I check on my phone. So I'd be totally plugged in on being able to interact with you guys on Facebook. So that's what we'd be working on. Sandy's just said yuck. I don't think she likes Facebook. So I know people have mixed feelings about Facebook, but it would be a closed group, so it would be completely safe, and it would just mean that you have easy access to me in between the webinars, yeah. But obviously, I'm at the end of the email as well. Okay, we'd have worksheets, and you'll have guided release sessions that you can download onto your iPod or MP3 player, and I think Becky's probably still got some of these from previous courses that I've run, where you can actually just listen to them and it will guide you through releasing on various issues, and they're really helpful to kind of top up in between the actual scheduled calls. Okay, and what we're going to do, and Becky's saying yes, very useful. Money focus. It's going to have a money focus, but when you're clear on what it is that you want to achieve, it doesn't matter what you release on, because the baggage that's pertinent to whatever you're working on will come up naturally, and if you clear on the money stuff, you automatically clear on loads of other stuff, and Becky would probably tell you as well that we did a lot of work clearing on relationships, but actually the knock-on effect was that she had this increase in her income, so you don't necessarily have to be clearing on the thing that is that you want to change. You can clear on something else and it still has a knock-on effect, and the reason for that is that we take it sorry, I'm being distracted. Stuart's just said this is a fantastic idea and he's up for it. This is great. What we do is that we when we knock out control on wanting control on one issue, we actually knock it out across the board. So say we knock out wanting control and we're talking about a money issue, we actually knock out wanting control over our health or our fitness or our relationships or whatever. So by working, dedicating our focus to one issue, you're actually going to experience an uplift in all areas of your life. Okay, so what does it cost? That's always the question, isn't it? Okay, but I have a question for you. What is this? This isn't going to be expensive, so don't get worried or anything, right? But what is it going to cost if you don't shift these money blocks? So come on, guys, you tell me. What do you think this might cost you if you carry on doing what you're doing and you don't do anything about this inner world stuff? Happiness, yeah. Sophie says happiness. Sandy's saying, how do you multitask with all these messages coming in? I don't know. Practice, Sandy. Okay, what else is it going to cost us apart from happiness? Not moving back home to San Francisco to be among my peeps in the ideal client base and thrift stores. Delays to your future prospects. Yeah, that's absolutely right. It's costing too much in terms of worry and sleepless nights, yep. And Catherine's saying it's doing what you want in life, being poor all my life, yeah, that's another one. Okay, so even if you thought about it in terms of, okay, in the next year, next 12 months, so we'll get going before Christmas, but what if going from January of this coming year to December you know, where we're at, where we're just about to get into December now, yeah. What if all you got out of this was a £20,000 increase in whatever you're already earning, right? And if you took this course, you were able to, and you plugged into the mentoring group and you did the work and you got that £20,000 increase, yeah, compared to if you didn't, yeah? Wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't that have shifted some beliefs and money blocks in order for you to have done that? That would be a 20,000% increase. He's saying that. And so Rosie's saying yes, that's great. Stuart's saying yes, it can definitely affect your health. Andrew said it's cost me my energy, feeling rather exhausted half the time, but not just physically, mentally. Not physically, just mentally, which will then cost me clients. Absolutely. So what's it already costing you for not being able to do this work? Okay. Right, so we've established that there's a cost to us not doing this work. The cost for you guys to get involved with this is $27 a month. Okay, now is that crazy or is that crazy? I've got stunned silence on the chat function now. Elizabeth is saying in pounds. No, it's in US dollars. US dollars, it's even cheaper than in pounds. Catherine's saying, is that in pounds? Sophie's laughing her head off. Okay, that's excellent news. Sounds good. Okay, 27 US dollars a month. Okay, and yes, it will go up later, but you know, I have this philosophy that if you get in early and you stay plugged in and you keep doing the work, then you deserve to have it at $27 a month for forever, you know, as long as we run this group. Okay. So Andrea's just done a calculation for me. Thank you so much. It's £16.82, and then she's got other decimal points as well. So for £16, for those of us in the, she's saying Google did it, £16 for us in the UK, equivalent to 27 US dollars. It's you know, what's that in terms of the number of cups of coffee that you might buy? It's, you know, half of a trip to the shopping store. Stuart's saying it's just over 50p a day. Yeah, so you know, it's almost nothing compared to, you know, these high-end coaching packages where, you know, previously that was the only way to do this work. You know, I don't know anyone else who is doing it quite like I'm doing it, but you know, I do know a lot of people who are doing seminars and retreats, and they're costing thousands. So you know, this is a no-brainer. So if you haven't already read down the slide whilst I've been prattling along, if you head over to wireyourselfawealth.com/money, then you can log on and register for that right now, and you'll automatically be billed. It comes up with PayPal, and you can use your PayPal account, or you can how long's the cart going to open at the price? Oh, I don't know, a few days, Mindy. We're going to get cracking soon though. Thousands for a one-off most of the time. Yeah, so Andrew's talking about the retreats where you can do, you know, the deep work, which, you know, that they're kind of okay, but they last a week, and then what happens? And that will cost you thousands and thousands of pounds. This is the most effective and fair way that I can find to help as many people as possible. Okay, so head over to wireyourselfawealth.com/money and log in and get yourself registered. Oh yeah, I was saying it starts off with PayPal, and you can use your PayPal account, or you can register a card and for it to go off a credit card or whatever else. Yes, it will be a business expense, Andrea, that's fine. New business, facepalm, I don't know what that is. Andrea, sorry, I don't understand that last message. Okay, so anyway, apart from that, I also have a really special bonus, because when I first started out doing this kind of work, I was told to keep a gains journal, you know, to keep track of my gains and things to be grateful for. And this is something that, I mean, Becky will tell you, I harp on about this all the time, but because it really works and it helps you attract more things that are great. So when you release, amazing things happen. She's saying, yes, she does. Right. And Andrea's just giving me a translation. Thanks, Andrea. I'll read that again later. Okay, so for the first 20 people to register, you guys are going to get me hand posting to you one of these books. Now, this is the exact one that, well, it's the same brand, the same thing that I used when I first got going with this. And I just think that it's kind of got that permanence about it, so you can keep a permanent track of all the amazing things that happen to you, because what happens when we record them is that we notice them, and we get into the habit of noticing them, and when we notice these you know, great opportunities happening and money showing up unexpectedly, we start filtering for it. So instead of filtering for rubbish stuff and people screwing us over and relationships not working and, you know, trying to prove all these childhood dramas and traumas, we're instead filtering for the really ace stuff. And it's amazing how all of a sudden more of this stuff will start coming to you. And it's like, I think it was Dr. DeMartini who said this: what you appreciate appreciates. So what you really are grateful for, you manage to increase. Becky's also said, it's good because it helps you see your progress. Yeah, that's another good thing. Website asks, is there a coupon code? No, there's not, Andrea. You just go straight through and it'll stick you straight onto that that $27 a month rate. Okay, super. Right. So where does this turnaround lead? What do you end up with when you do this work? Well, you know, things become a lot more relaxed, you know. But oh, what's the URL again? Hang on, Gretchen. Let's go back. There you go. whyyourselfawealth.com/money. Okay. In fact, guys, I'm gonna put it in the chat function, because then I can. No worries, Gretchen. whyyourselfforwealth.com/money. Okay, I'm sending that to everyone. There you go. Sophie's registered. Yay! Hope I'm one of the first 20. Okay, I don't know. You might be. I'm sure you are. Okay, let's talk about this. Where does this turnaround lead? Okay, Rosie's in. Brilliant. Lovely to see you on board, Rosie. Thanks. Okay, so who else? Robin's registered. Brilliant. Okay. Gail saying money's really short. I know, but you know, you've got to put in something to get something out again. You know, I'd love to do this work for free, but what I found is that when I have given scholarships, people have kind of just fallen off the wheel. They've just not got what they needed from it. Catherine, I will be registering but can't get on to register yet. I bet Catherine's on an iPad. Okay. All right, Gail. So here's where the turnaround path leads. It means that you can be relaxed about money, and you can be relaxed about all your job. And she says, Catherine says no, she's not on an iPad. Okay. You can be relaxed about everything to do with money, you know, whether it's your work and your job and having to please the people at work. Instead of feeling like a pussycat, you can feel like this amazing lion, you know, that, you know, you can look into the mirror and see this confidence, this real inner solid confidence shining back at you. And that's who everyone else in the world sees. Hang on, Becky's just put in a little blurb that she wants to share. One thing to share with you again, one of the guys from the company wanted me to go and work with them, has left his partnership with the other kitchen company as he couldn't work with the other guy who has been ringing me up with work. Ah, that's very interesting, Becky. Okay, so Becky's got another gain there. That's super. Okay, so it could be that you want the material things, right? But most people that I talk to, the money thing is about the freedom and about the confidence. It's about being this lion or in a pussycat's body, you know, and having that inner confidence and security that the money gives you. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with having the you know, all the trappings of money. You know, if that's what turns you on, that's great, but that's not the be all and end all. That's not what it's all about. You know, there is other stuff, and you know, for most people it comes down to the freedom that they can experience when they don't feel tied to money. and tied by money. And you know, for others it's about, you know, what can they do for their family when they've released all these fears and these worries that are plaguing them and you know, wearing them down on a daily basis. Okay, so we're going to clear the fog. We're going to do some sorry, Becky's chattering away there. I'll come back to that, Bex. Okay, so we may notice that there are some things that aren't quite right in our thinking, but that's okay because you've got the tools now. You're going to have the tools to do that deep excavation and to do the work and to make things happen. And ultimately, you're going to come out a winner. Now, releasing and letting go is the key, and it's the single most important factor. Do you remember I said at the beginning how, you know, I was working with all these traders and they were really intelligent and they had all the strategies and, you know, they were all given the same recipe to use, and yet some would make money whilst others would really struggle, yeah? And it's the inner world that makes the difference, not the strategy. Now, having the right strategy helps, it stacks the odds in your favour, but you need to have the inner world sorted, otherwise all the strategy in the world isn't going to help you. And it's not about going out and finding more information. A lot of people say, oh yeah, well, I'm going to sign up on this course and that course and la 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 la, but you know, it's not it doesn't work like that. You know, you can have all the information in the world, and if the inner world isn't sorted and you're not implementing the right strategies at the right time and you're not trusting your intuition and you're not having these synchronicities happen, then it's not going to work. Okay, so Andrea's saying that she's subscribed. Sandra has to go. Sandy has to go. Okay, no problem, Sandy. Lovely to see you on here. We are going to wrap up in just a couple of seconds. I've got another slide, I think, and that's it. Okay, and then it's also about the Mindy saying, to be clear, the mentoring group will run for 1 year. Yeah, I'm planning to have it ongoing, and if it has the momentum, it will run for more than 1 year, Mindy. But you know, oh, the other thing is that this is set up so that you can cancel your payment at any time. So there's no kind of, you know, 12-month contract or ongoing commitment. Okay, so you can increase your power to have the world the way that you'd like it to have. And with this increased confidence, you go from going, I can't do this, I can't have this money, da 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 da, to feeling that actually I can. You know, and I've experienced this in all kinds of things, like in my investment strategies, and like, oh God, I could never invest in an IT company. What on earth am I thinking? To actually feeling, well, yeah, actually that's okay, you know. And you're going to experience exactly that as well, because everything becomes possible when you clear out the rubbish. Okay, so last thing, there we go. There's that URL again, whyyourselfworth.com/money. Okay, Stuart says he's registered too. Awesome. Well, look, folks, welcome on board to everyone that's made the decision. I'm going to get these books sent out to you, because the gains journal is really important, and you know, you've heard what Becky said about being able to keep track of your gains. Are there any last questions? Because we've got 3 minutes before I've got to disappear. I think I'm being called for my supper. When do we start the webinars? I am going to plan those for the next couple of months at the end of this week, so you will be receiving an email from me with a complete schedule. But as a couple of people have already messaged me, that you log into the mentoring area straight away as soon as you've made the payment, and you will already have up a whole heap of bonuses. So you've got articles that I've written that are pertinent to this work, you've got YouTube videos, recordings of webinars, and all kinds of material to get you launched and primed, ready to take full advantage of this when we get going live. Okay, any last questions, folks? No? Okay, right, look, my email, I'm going to type it in the chat function. I think most of you already have it though, and you certainly have my Facebook details. Look, this is my email. If you have any questions, just drop me a line, and we will talk. Okay, folks, thank you so much for being on the line. You've been amazing. I've loved the way that you've interacted. It's been really great. As I said, oh, just getting static, sorry. Okay, audio's gone. Are others experiencing this? Yeah, I've lost the audio as well. Okay, I'm going to say thank you so much, everyone. Oh, are we back? We're back. Super. Thanks, Robin. Okay. I was just typing. Thanks everyone for being on here. Thank you so much for interacting. You've made this highly enjoyable and worthwhile and productive. And you know, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the mentoring calls and you know, making these gains that we've been talking about that so many others have made already. So thanks so much for showing up. I'm going to sign out now and look, rock on. We'll speak soon. All right. Take care. Bye.